Hi and welcome back to Cut the Craggle. Today, I'm going to be showing you a set I've been wanting to own ever since I first laid eyes on it. The Lego Disney Castle. This is a replica of the actual Cinderella Castle in Walt Disney World, Florida. The Lego Disney Castle contains over 4,000 pieces and stands over 74 centimeters high and 48 centimeters wide. This set is absolutely littered with Easter eggs and references to many classic Disney animations. Straight away, you might have noticed down on the right, there are two little frogs and one of them has a crown. A very clear nod to Disney's The Princess and the Frog. Also, right above the entrance, we have the main clock tower, and the clock face, a beautifully printed piece, shows the time as just before midnight, a reference to the film this castle is from, Cinderella. Round the back, the castle has that common Lego design trait of cutting off the back of the building to allow you to see the entire interior of the castle. I'm going to take you through the different rooms and contents, starting from the bottom and working our way up. First of all, we have the grand main hall. In the centre of the room is a mosaic tiled floor, which is a very clever design using some of the shield pieces introduced in the Nexo Knights theme. Right above that, you can just make out the double doors of the front entrance, and then the room opens up to the left and right to make up the entire ground floor of this set. If I just remove this suit of armour for a moment, you can see more clearly another reference to a Disney classic. In fact, my favourite Disney film of all time, Aladdin, with the magic carpet hanging on the wall, and just below it there is also the genie's lamp. Moving back over to the right, I just wanted to mention this nice chandelier hanging directly above the mosaic floor. The bulk of this build is actually the steering wheel from a Lego pirate ship. On the far right, we have 3 shields. These are the old castle-themed shields with stickers on. To the left of that, you can also see a grandfather clock, and like the clock tower, it is just before midnight. One floor up on the left, we have the kitchen. The layout of the room is inspired by the one from The Little Mermaid, especially the bricked-in oven design. There's a lot of little details with various pots, pans and bottles. I really like the sense of clutter that gives it that lived-in feel. There's also another reference to Cinderella with the pumpkin in the corner, which of course is what the fairy godmother transforms into her carriage. If I turn it round, you can see it is actually just a jack-o'-lantern headpiece. I don't think Disney intended for this, but if you did want to have the carving facing outwards, it could be a reference to the lesser-known Disney short, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Right next to that, we have a room that perhaps, on first glance, seems a bit bare in comparison, but actually has a couple of nice tokens. The small brown desk is a very pleasing small build, and atop we have a repurposed yellow chainsaw body, used to create a 3-pronged candlestick, which is meant to represent Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast. And on the other side of the room, we even have a single red flower inside a glass dome, which of course is meant to be the enchanted rose. As I mentioned, besides that, this room does look a little empty, but it's important to remember that whilst this is a great display piece, it is meant to serve as a playset as well. With that in mind, it's actually really nice that you can fit not one, but 2 minifigs in here with ease. Right next to that is what appears to be just the top of one of the castle spires, but if you remove it, there is a secret compartment. Inside, first up we have yet another Cinderella reference, this neat little glass slipper. The other item we have in there is this fantastic piece. This is a unique printed piece with the Disney castle on the front cover of this storybook. If I tilt it just right, you can see it catches the light really nicely. And if I open it up, you can see another printed tile showing the start of the story, Once Upon a Time. On the next floor, we have this attic-like space. There is a chest with another brown book inside, a couple of mops and buckets, and a blue wizard's hat decorated with some really intricate stars and moons. This, of course, is all a callback to Disney's Fantasia. Sadly, there is no way to put the hat on the Mickey minifigure. I really hope LEGO make a Fantasia Mickey one day. To the left of that is a tiny little room at the bottom of the tallest tower, but one that has a great reference to one of Disney's best looking classic animated movies, Sleeping Beauty. This spinning wheel is such a great little build because straight away you know what it is. Some of the most interesting aspects of this are how the designer has used a wagon wheel, magic wand, and a unicorn horn piece in gold. Just above the Fantasia attic, we have this grand bedroom. I don't think this is a reference to any one film in particular, but it definitely has that Disney princess feel to it. It's a gorgeous build with more nice repurposing of parts. The curve-shaped bedposts at the front are actually the pieces used for Unikitty's tail, but in brown with some new printing on the side. And the detailed curtain rail is made from what was often used for teeth or claws in the Mixel series. The one issue with this room is that, like a lot of the sections as we move upwards, they get smaller and more compact. If I try to lay Mickey down, you can see how the scale is way off and it's too small to fit even one minifigure on what is meant to be a king-size bed. To the left and up a bit, we have another small room in the tall tower with another chest. If I just tip the chest up a moment to show you the contents. First of all, we have a pair of scissors and a yellow hairbrush, obviously a reference to Disney's Tangled, as is this little piece here, meant to represent some dark hair. Of course, Rapunzel has long blonde magical hair, but when it was cut, it would change into a very dark brown colour. Above Rapunzel's room, we have a recreation from Disney's very first animated feature film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. With the magic mirror on the wall that the evil queen would talk to, the reflective surface is a sticker, but if I wave my hand in front, you can see it does actually work. And then, just beside that, we have a glass cauldron with a red apple, which is what the evil queen gave to Snow White to poison her. Above that, we have one final little room where you have just enough space to fit a single minifigure to look out from. I mentioned before that this is designed to be a play set as much as a display piece, and for that purpose they have designed the structure so that you can very easily take it apart into 3 main sections. With the top of the castle removed, I can give you a better look at the surprisingly spacious mezzanine just behind the clock tower. At first, I thought this archery area with the bow and arrow was a reference to my second favourite Disney film, Robin Hood. But on closer inspection, you can see the area has a few of these little 1x1 printed pieces, which are meant to be the biscuits from the film Brave. This is such a beautiful set. The detailing is some of the best I've ever seen. Little things like the lanterns here at the entrance, whilst the top you may recognise straight away as an arrow in pearl gold. The main frame of the lantern, you may be surprised to find out, is a recoloured Witch King crown from the Lord of the Rings theme. Another great example of the kind of really ingenious build design on display throughout the whole set. The turret pieces at the top of these towers in the front are some of the most complex pieces I've seen. The amount of different and innovative building techniques used throughout this set is really impressive, and yet nothing ever felt difficult to follow or frustrating to build. The whole front of the castle is very ornate, making particular use of the unicorn horn piece in white. If you followed my build on Facebook, you may remember me joking about all the unicorns that must have been massacred in order to make this set. One little feature I forgot to mention earlier are these 2 stud shooters in the window here, which fire these triple-tiered elements meant to represent fireworks. Up top, I was initially disappointed to see the inclusion of dark tan pieces in the golden spire, but it actually works really well, and from a distance, gives the whole thing a nice sense of depth. You can see I've put Tinkerbell up top as if she is flying over the castle like in the Walt Disney Studios opening. The clear paw I have on here actually doesn't come with this set. Instead, I borrowed one from my Ghostbusters Firehouse. It is something I think would have been nice for them to include it. It just seems an obvious way to display Tinkerbell with this set. Which brings me to the minifigures of the Disney Castle. Of the 4 here, 3 of them are exclusive variants. Minnie is in a different colour dress, whilst Mickey is wearing his tuxedo as he does at the Disney World Park. And Daisy too is wearing a different colour top and hair bow. Donald is not a variant and is the exact same figure that came with the Disney Blind Pack series. The printing on Minnie, Donald and Daisy continues onto their backs, and you can also see Mickey's coattails. I also love the duck's cute little tail pieces. Overall, all 4 figures are of great quality. Then we have the character that is 100% exclusive to this set. This is the very first Tinkerbell minifigure, and she is just fantastic. Tinkerbell is one of my favourite Disney characters, and I think LEGO did a really great job of capturing her in minifigure form. One common complaint with this set is the surprisingly low amount of minifigures included. You could argue that the 2 suits of armour at the back are technically made of minifigure parts, but that just doesn't cut it for me. Whilst the minifigures we get are very nice, in particular I am really fond of the Tuxedo Mickey and of course Tinks, I would still have liked to see a couple more exclusive minifigures, rather than just repeats of what we already got in the Blind Pack series. Perhaps a Goofy or Pluto minifigure. Seeing as it is Cinderella's castle, it does seem a bit odd that they didn't include a minifigure of Cinder's herself. Overall, I think this is a beautiful set. It's certainly one of my absolute favourite builds LEGO have ever produced. This is definitely an expensive set, no doubt about it, but it is a really great value for money set. The price to part is very low, and the quality and presentation of the build is superb. I have zero regrets about buying this. Normally, after splashing out so much on something, I'm prone to a bit of buyer's remorse, but honestly, every time I look at this, I get a big stupid grin on my face. That's all for this time. Let me know your thoughts on the Disney Castle in the comments below. If you'd like to see some pics of the build process, you can check out my Facebook page as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Laters.